A budget is really a reflection of priorities, isn't it? And we certainly saw the governor's priorities when he came out with his budget, and I think we were all shocked, regardless of party, what that budget said. But there's a real distinction of priorities between this budget as a legislature and the ones the Republicans put out. And while my good friends on the other side of the aisle are very, very well intentioned, they've created a document that doesn't begin to solve the budget and fiscal crisis of the state of Connecticut. Our Republican budget proposal was realistic. Although we wanted to provide more, we cut programs that were important to all of us. We couldn't provide the tax relief all of a sudden that we wanted to. It was a balanced approach. We were honest about the spending cap. We put more money towards our debt service than the governor's budget, the appropriations budget, and the legislature's budget. And while my colleagues here in this chamber may strongly agree or disagree, I believe we dealt fairly with the state employees by making the governor keep his promises of shared sacrifice. Those were the promises that the governor made in 2011, and then we saw again repeated in the updated fiscal note from the Office of Fiscal Analysis in 2013. The reality is, Madam Speaker, that our state employee salaries and benefits take over 30% of our taxpayer resources. Our state employees are hardworking, they're our friends, they're our neighbors. Our Republican proposal in no way was meant to single them out. It simply was to make sure that the governor kept a $900 million promise that he made to every taxpayer in the state of Connecticut in 2011. How can we deal effectively prioritizing taxpayer spending if we ignore the largest beneficiary of our taxpayers' hard-earned dollars? We can't. My friends on the other side have decided to remove 30% of the budget from the negotiation table. They will claim that we keep going back to the same well. But the truth is that this well is the largest portion of our state budget. We simply cannot continue to do the same things while expecting a different result in the state of Connecticut. It's not in the best interest of our citizens, whether they're state employees, private employees, or not employed at all. Madam Speaker, the largest problem we have in this building is the notion that there is such thing as state money. That's our problem. It's not true, and it's never been true. There is no such thing as state money. Our constituents and the residents of this state are paying that tab, and this budget document promotes the misperception that they will stay here and keep paying, because they're not going to do that. I submit to you that that is ultimately false. They don't have to stay here. And I hear from many of my constituents that they are counting the days to leave. Whether that's because they're waiting for an elderly parent to move on or their child to graduate high school, they are counting it down. Interestingly, this morning, or maybe yesterday morning, now that it's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, I posted something on social media about the budget, and my local eye doctor in my town made a comment that this is the third referral he has had requested by a patient to move to South Carolina. The third referral he's been asked to make in the last month. And those are the kinds of people that sit quietly by and watch what's going on. But he took the time to say, hey, listen, you're right. Every day, those kinds of things are happening in our state. Yesterday, I took a different route to the Capitol than I normally take, and I passed by our local food bank in Moodus. Now, I have a very small rural district, one of those weird places that has 4 zip codes but 1 town. And Moodus is a wonderful little community in the town of East Haddam. My family and my husband's family, Polish immigrants working in a factory, a good small town. And as I passed by our local food bank, it was 30 minutes before they opened. And yesterday, in the pouring rain, I had to literally stop the brakes when I saw 4 people huddled against the side of the wall with empty shopping bags waiting for the food bank to open. This has been a growing issue in many of our communities, big and small. And my fear is that this example is only going to be replayed in communities across the state, but worse, because those lines are going to continue to grow. And our latest data shows that, Madam Speaker, because our Medicaid rates are climbing. Almost 800,000 residents in the state of Connecticut are now served by that taxpayer program. Think about that. 800,000 residents in the state of Connecticut are served by Medicaid. And at the very same time, this budget appears to me to cut the Medicaid reimbursement rates. It can't be sustainable. It's not sustainable. Instead of creating opportunities for new jobs so businesses can grow roots here, we starve their potential growth and change the rules. Change the rules so businesses would rather pull up their stakes and leave. In this legislative budget, we have added new state jobs. We've given raises to judges, we've given raises to managers, and we continue to approve union packages with almost 5% in raises and benefits. I submit to you, Madam Speaker, that these are not the kind of policies that help grow Connecticut. Obviously, we've been all waiting around a long time to review to vote on this budget, so I've had plenty of time to review it. This is a pretty straightforward amendment that does 2 things. One, it restores the funding for the Community Investment Act. That's a fund that is so important to so many of our communities all across Connecticut, especially our rural communities. And the other thing it does is it restores funding for our resident state troopers, which is also another important issue for folks all across the Connecticut. And how does it do that? Very simply. We talked earlier about the compound drug savings. We believe there is definitely more to be achieved. And we also do it by limiting the number of deputy commissioners. We have agencies in the state of Connecticut with multiple deputy commissioners, and I believe that the Community Investment Act is so critically important to everybody in Connecticut, and I also believe that our resident state trooper program should be protected and funded. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, I move adoption, and when the vote is taken, I ask for it to be taken by roll.